I woke up to a miracle today. Triggers stay as I find my way. No judgment to lead astray. In this peaceful state I'll stay.
Welcome. We get asked a lot about how to study A Course in Miracles.
It's a great question because there really is no one right way.
Yeah,
People find all kinds of different approaches helpful.
that's true. We thought it might be helpful to take a look at the structure of the course itself and how that might inform the way we approach it.
Yeah.
Remember, it's comprised of 3 parts: the text, the workbook for students, and the manual for teachers.
The text lays the theoretical foundation of A Course in Miracles. It's dense,
It is.
and it can be challenging reading, but it lays out a non-dualistic thought system that really helps us to understand the metaphysics behind the course's teachings.
This thought system challenges our conventional understanding of the world. It's written in what's called the symphonic style, meaning concepts are introduced,
Right.
then revisited and elaborated on in a kind of spiraling fashion that deepens our understanding with each pass.
Yeah, you're not going to get it on the first pass. You're not supposed to. So
No.
don't get discouraged if some of it seems to go over your head.
Some people start and stop the text several times before it feels like it's clicking.
There is no one right way to do it.
And there is no need to wait until you finish the text to start the workbook for students, which is where the rubber really meets the road when it comes to A Course in Miracles.
The workbook offers 365 lessons, one for each day of the year, designed to help us apply the principles of the text to our everyday lives.
It's where we put the theory into practice.
Right.
The introduction to the workbook tells us that the exercises are what make the goal of the course possible. So even if you're still working your way through the text, you can jump right in with the workbook.
Yeah.
In fact, many students find that doing the workbook helps them to better understand the text.
And don't worry if you don't make it through a lesson a day. What matters is consistency and a willingness to see the world differently.
We'll talk more about the workbook in just a bit, but let's touch on the third part of the course, the manual for teachers. This volume often causes some confusion, especially for those new to the course.
It might seem intimidating, but remember, A Course in Miracles defines a teacher of God as anyone who chooses to awaken from the dream of separation. It's a state of mind available to anyone.
The manual for teachers can be a great resource for understanding the course more deeply, and it's written in a question and answer format, which some people find very helpful.
And it's important to note that you don't have to consider yourself a teacher to get a lot of value out of the manual for teachers. It's a wonderful resource for students at any level. The manual for teachers emphasizes that teaching and learning are intertwined. As we share what we learn, we deepen our own understanding and create space for others to heal and grow. It's a beautiful cycle of giving and receiving.
And that's an important idea that's woven throughout all 3 volumes of A Course in Miracles. Healing and learning aren't meant to be solitary pursuits.
The text tells us our relationships provide opportunities for forgiveness and growth.
The workbook gives us practical exercises for applying those principles to our relationships.
The manual for teachers sheds light on the dynamic between teacher and student and reminds us we're all teachers and students simultaneously.
We are always either extending or receiving the invitation to awaken from the dream of separation.
So you're probably wondering about how to approach each volume. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah.
But let's share some tips that have been helpful for us.
Okay.
We often hear from students who are intimidated by the text. It's not light reading.
No, it's not.
Remember we talked about the symphonic style? Keep this in mind as you're reading. The ideas build upon each other, so it's really important to read for context. Don't get bogged down in trying to understand every word or sentence on the first pass.
Yeah.
Just allow the ideas to wash over you and trust that deeper meaning will reveal itself as you go.
That's good advice.
A lot of people find it helpful to underline or highlight passages that stand out to them. You can also jot down notes in the margins or keep a separate journal for reflections.
Yeah, I like that.
Reading aloud can also help you to connect more deeply with the material. When we engage more than one sense, we're better able to absorb and integrate information.
That makes sense.
Don't be afraid to jump around in the text. Either follow your intuition. If a particular chapter or passage calls to you, go for it. It's a great way to personalize your learning and make it more engaging.
Speaking of engaging, let's talk about the workbook for students. This is where we take those lofty ideas from the text and bring them down to earth. It's where we put the rubber to the road and learn to walk our talk.
The workbook provides a structured framework for this process. It's a year-long program with 365 lessons. But don't feel pressured to stick to a rigid schedule.
No.
Life happens.
Yeah.
The key is consistency. It's about making a commitment to show up and do the work, even if it's just for a few minutes each day.
And I think one thing that makes the workbook really accessible is its practical nature. The lessons are designed to help us shift our perception in concrete ways.
We're invited to look at our relationships, our fears, our judgments, and our beliefs through a new lens.
And it's not about perfection. The lessons aren't tests. It's about experimentation. It's about being willing to look at things differently and notice how that changes our experience.
So often we try to change our behavior without addressing the underlying thought patterns that drive it.
Yeah.
Course in Miracles reminds us that true change starts with our minds.
When we shift our perception, our experience of the world naturally follows suit,
And this brings us to the manual for teachers.
which can be a little bit of a head-scratcher for some people. It's, wait, am I a teacher?
We all are. If you're listening to this, you're likely engaging in some form of teaching.
Yeah.
We all share what we learn, whether it's with family, friends, colleagues, or the barista at our favorite coffee shop.
Right.
The Manual for Teachers is a valuable resource for anyone who wants to deepen their understanding of the course, and especially for those who feel called to share its teachings with others.
I find myself returning to the Manual for Teachers again and again for its clarity and practical guidance.
It's written in a question and answer format, which makes it easy to navigate. The questions address a lot of the common sticking points that come up when we're studying and applying the principles of A Course in Miracles.
Like, for instance, one of the questions in the Manual for Teachers is, how is healing accomplished? The answer, healing is accomplished the instant the sufferer no longer believes in the need for suffering.
That's such a succinct and profound statement.
And there are so many nuggets of wisdom tucked away in the Manual for Teachers. It can be a bit daunting to think about diving into all 3 volumes of A Course in Miracles at once.
Yeah, it can be.
Maybe we could talk about some ways to make studying this material
Yeah.
a little easier, more enjoyable.
I think it's helpful to remember that A Course in Miracles is not a race to the finish line.
Mhm.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah,
And the most important thing is to find a pace and a rhythm that works for you.
that's true.
Yeah.
We're often asked about the best way to approach the text, and my advice is always to treat it as a conversation.
Yes. It's not a book to be passively read and consumed. It's something to be wrestled with and pondered.
Underline passages that resonate with you. Write in the margins. Keep a journal of your reflections.
Yeah.
Talk to other students about what you're learning.
Reading the text aloud can be especially helpful.
Yeah.
It forces us to slow down and really savor the language.
Sometimes I find myself rereading a single sentence multiple times before I feel I'm really starting to grasp its meaning.
Oh, yeah.
And then sometimes you read a passage and it just hits you.
Right.
The timing has to be right.
Yes, the timing has to be right.
We don't always come to the course ready to hear what it has to say.
Hmm.
But the beauty of it is that it's always there waiting for us when we're ready to listen.
It's interesting you use the word listen, because A Course in Miracles tells us that we're really learning to hear the voice of our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit.
It's a process of quieting the mind and opening ourselves to a wisdom that's always present but often obscured by our ego's fears and judgments.
And that's where the workbook for students comes in. It's
Yeah.
designed to help us put those principles into practice in our everyday
It's
lives.
our spiritual gym. We're strengthening those muscles of forgiveness and non-judgment. We're learning to look at the world with new eyes.
Don't get hung up on trying to do a lesson a day. What matters is that you're engaging with the material and allowing it to challenge your thinking.
Yeah, you might find that some lessons really resonate with you, while others feel more challenging. It's okay to revisit lessons multiple times or skip around if that feels right.
Remember, the workbook is a tool. It's
Sure.
there to support you in your journey of spiritual growth.
It's not about achieving perfection. It's about being willing to show up, do the work, and see where it takes you.
And when you're feeling stuck or confused, don't hesitate to turn to the Manual for Teachers.
It can be a really valuable resource, particularly when you're wrestling with some of the more challenging concepts in the Corda course.
The Manual for Teachers helps to clarify a lot of common misconceptions and offers practical guidance on how to apply the principles of A Course in Miracles to our relationships and our lives,
It reminds us that teaching and learning are ongoing processes.
and that we're all in this together.
We're all students of A Course in Miracles. We're all teachers. We're all learning to awaken from the dream of separation.
And the beautiful thing is that we don't have to do it alone. We have each other, we have the course, and we have the inner teacher who is always guiding us towards our own awakening.
Thanks for joining us today on this exploration of A Course in Miracles. We hope this conversation has been helpful and that it inspires you to continue your journey of self-discovery with this profound and transformative material.
I